Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Let's go ahead and talk about what my reading plans for the month of July are. And we will go ahead and start it off with what is basically the channel mascot at this point, and that is The Ships of Merior by Jenny Wirtz. I actually went back and looked at my Goodreads just to see how long have I been reading this book. And technically I started this like 6 months ago, like in December or something, I think. So I'm hoping that maybe July is finally the month that I get around. I am currently on page 165. And I am going to be traveling here soon. Well, actually, when this video comes out, I'm probably already back. But I'm traveling and I don't have to drive. So I'm hoping that maybe I can just sit in the back of the car during this 8-hour drive, which is, man, that's a long drive. But yeah, I'm hoping maybe I can just sit in the back at some point for that 8-hour drive and knock out some of this. I think I have about 550 or so pages left. So it'd be really nice to finally get around to finishing this book. It has probably been actively read longer than any other book I've ever tried to read. And yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it every time I've sat down and read it. It's just kind of been one of those books that I have not put a lot of priority on, unfortunately, and I would like to. I think it's going to be a really interesting story. The writing's different than anything else I've ever read, so maybe July is the month. We'll see. After that, or I am actually currently already reading this, but that is The Bands of Mourning by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book in Era 2 for Mistborn. So yeah, I've started that one technically already. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that maybe the world expands a little bit more in this one. I'm not very far into it, so I don't really even know what's going on with the story yet. But yeah, that's something I want to see expanded upon is the world. I want to see more than what's going on just inside of Ellendale. And I will have an Alloy of Law review coming up very soon. After that, I will go ahead and go back to our lovely short story collection, Arcadium Unbound. And I think I need to read Mistborn: A Secret History. I think that's actually a pretty long short story. I think it's like 170 something pages. So like novella length, actually. I have no idea what it's about, which is kind of what I try to do for all of my books that I read. I try to go in pretty blind, but I need to read that. I also need to read the White Sands graphic novels. I think those are also in here, but I'm not 100% sure. So I might have to hunt that down. And then I also am supposed to read, it just says Arcadium Unbound essays. So I'm assuming those are in there. I don't know exactly what else I need to read for that, but I'll just look it up and figure it out. So I will hopefully read all of that, and that'll be a big chunk of Sanderson done. And I think after that I have to read Edge Dancer or Dawn Shard before I get back to like mainline stuff. I think after I finish those two, I finally get to start Oathbringer, which I am just, I'm so ready to read it. I'm enjoying Era 2. By no means do I think it's bad. So far I've been enjoying it 2 books in. But Stormlight, man, Words of Radiance was just so good. I was thinking about it today, actually, just some of the moments that happened, and I was just getting chills because it's just such an awesome book. So really looking forward to reading all of that Sanderson stuff. This is a lot of Sanderson material for this month, but I'm also going to go ahead and pick up this, The Prophet of Edan by fellow booktuber Philip Chase. This just came out in June, the end of June. He released that, and I'm looking forward to it. I gave the first book 3 stars. I thought it had some really high highs and really low lows, but I'm hoping that this has more highs than lows, and it's definitely a longer book, but I'm looking forward to it. The cover is awesome. The back has that nice dragon on it, and we're getting some Darth Sidious vibes there with the lightning hands, but yeah, so that is book 2 there that I'm looking forward to. After that, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from fantasy, and I actually might end up injecting this in between some of either Mistborn: Secret History or some of those graphic novels, and that is the Gates of Fire, which I believe is kind of a historical fiction retelling of everybody knows 300, the movie with Sparta, and this is about that battle. And I don't know, I just needed a little bit of change of pace. I've heard a lot of really good things about this, and so I put that on the list, and I got it on sale on Audible. So yeah, I'm just throwing that in to kind of change up what I'm reading. It's been super fantasy heavy, really Sanderson heavy, so I just kind of wanted something to change it up. And then my last thing that I kind of have planned, and maybe you guys can help me figure out what I should read, I have The Captain or Unsold by Will White. I've not read anything by Will White, and right now I think I'm leaning towards The Captain. One, because it's a standalone, or right now I know it's a part of a series, but it's the first book out. It's recent. I've heard it's super good, and I'm not sure if I really want to commit to reading a 12-book series right now, which Unsold is the first of the Cradle trilogy. But I don't know, maybe you guys could convince me to start that. I don't know, I'm a little hesitant because there are so many books. So right now I am leaning towards The Captain, but definitely let me know down in the comments if you think I should start with Unsold instead. I don't have a lot of experience with that kind of book. I think it's like a lit RPG, progression fantasy kind of story. And I've never really read anything like that. Maybe just one other book, I think. It was like the 10 Steps to Defeating the Demon King or something. I think it's kind of similar to that, which I enjoyed. But that will definitely be kind of a new experience for me, especially on the scale that that series is written at. Outside of my normal novels, I'll just mention the manga that I want to read real quickly. I will continue following along with the monster read-along that Philip Chase, Murphy Napier, and Patrick Leo are doing. Really interested in that. Want to see where that story goes. Really hoping the villain as good as everybody seems to mention online, just how epic the villain is and how twisty and turny it is. So it hasn't hooked me 100% yet, but it's hooked me enough that I definitely want to read more, and it definitely helps that I get to follow along with those discussions. I will definitely keep, well, Boruto is technically on hiatus until August, so I guess I am caught up with that for now. I will read My Hero, Black Clover. Those are kind of the two longer running ongoing series I'm reading as far as manga go. Outside of that, there's also Berserk, which I haven't caught up to yet. I've just been kind of letting chapters stack up before I jump back into that. Same thing with Vinland Saga. Definitely want to hop back onto that train. Those are two of my favorites, but I just kind of wanted to be able to sit down and binge some, so I've been kind of holding off reading that. And lastly, I would like to get around to reading about 100 chapters of One Piece. That might sound like a lot, but I'm in the mood for manga right now, which makes me just kind of like churn through it super fast. So that's kind of my reading style when it comes to mangas. Read a whole bunch of it all at once, get kind of tired of it, take a month break, and then, or 2-month break, and then I'm kind of back at it. So I would definitely like to read the next 100 chapters of One Piece. You know, I got a lot of feedback on my last video that I just kind of need to keep going to really get into it. So I am looking forward to that. But let me know your July reading plans down in the comments. I'd love to see what you're reading. But other than that, have a good one.